Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here to talk about the serious situation with Oko. Things have moved from emergency to crisis levels. Now, I think that's the way it goes. Isn't it how it goes? Like emergency and then crisis? If that's not how the terminology is used and they're both interchangeable, just understand that I am saying things have gotten worse. Things are way beyond anything I conceived possible in the current standard. You would figure with the lessons that they learned all the way back in the days of Mirrodin that they would finally have some measure of balance. Now, the Golos field of the deck that was running rampant was a problem, but it pales in comparison to what's going on with Oko. I am actually floored by how ridiculous that it's gotten. And we're actually seeing the impact in both arena and physical magic across the board. This is a massive, massive problem for Wizards of the Coast. Because first of all, they had to do the Fields of the Dead banning, and having multiple bans in a row is really bad. It sends a really bad message about how there's not enough stability in Wizards of the Coast formats, especially obviously Standard. And on top of that, when you've got that, it just shows overall that they are not governing the game properly. Now, there are multiple things that are coming together to make me feel this way. One of the things I noticed is that the wait times to play games in Arena has gone up. You will be sitting there for 30 or 40 seconds waiting for a match to occur because there are far fewer people playing Standard on Arena right now. Oko is running absolutely rampant. For example, Fields of the Dead, the number representation, overall percentage of the field, oh, that's not a good term, the overall percentage of the different decks that were being played in Standard, field represented 42% of all the decks being played. So almost 1 out of every 2 decks, right? 42% is a high percentage. Now, the reports that are coming in currently are saying that in some cases, Oko is dominating 70%. 70% of an event's players are playing Oko. I've seen this in all kinds of little trickle-down ways as well. The LGS that I go to, well, their most recent announcement for F&M said, are you coming out to run house with your Elk army, or are you coming out to stop the Elk army? Because that is literally the situation we are at. The amount of cards that are being main decked, normally sideboard cards like Noxious Grasp, that are being main decked is insane. This honestly feels very similar to the days of the Ravager Affinity epidemic, where the Affinity deck was so insanely strong that you either played Affinity or what would beat Affinity, and the Affinity deck was still good enough that it was probably going to win against the deck that beat Affinity. It was just the one that had the best chance of beating Affinity. So we have a situation where Oko represents up to 70% of the field. This has caused multiple locations to cancel Standard events straight out, in some cases because attendance was abysmally low. They wouldn't even be able to get 8 people to fire off an event. And we're talking big level events. We're not just talking your local LGS that normally only pulls in 8 people. We're talking about, oh, we would normally see 100 people. We've got 2 people registered for this event. So it's impacting paper magic very much. It's impacting Standard on Arena as well. And Arena is only Standard. Whatever Wizards tries to pretend and go, oh, we've got Standard, Historic, and Brawl for variety, they really don't. If you take a look at the scenario, Historic is buried. There are multiple people who literally don't know how to play Historic. There's no Historic queue. Wizards of the Coast intentionally, and I don't understand why they're doing this with Arena. I don't know why they're treating it like a mobile game that's only going to be around for a short period of time, so milk as much as you can. They've pinned all of their hopes on Standard by going, okay, Historic is buried to the point where the only way to play Historic is to go into the deck builder, which will automatically be set to make you a Standard deck, by the way. Go find the drop-down list, change it to Historic, and then you build a Historic deck. Now, how do you play Historic? You just have to go into the play queue and know. You have to just know that to play Historic, you have to go into a play queue with a Historic designed deck. So instead of having its own queue, it's just shoved into a multi-queue for your unranked standard and your unranked historic. Basically, the only place you see the word historic anywhere at all in Arena is just in the drop-down list for your deck builder, which is absolutely insane. It baffles new players. Wizards' whole argument is supposed to be, well, we don't want to have increased wait times for people to get a game. And I understand that, because when it comes to the wait times, when you're sitting there for 30 seconds waiting for someone to actually, waiting for someone to come and play you, waiting for something to happen, you're just staring at your screen. I had honestly considered doing this video where I stopped for 30 whole seconds and did nothing. But I realized that would be interminable. It's agony. So you've got a scenario where you're waiting a ridiculous amount of time now for your standard games to start because Oko has made people go, oh, standard's not fun. And it's affected people who play Arena very regularly, like myself. Last night, I ended up playing a dumb, mindless clicker game. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Adventure Capitalist, but it's a fairly mindless clicker game. And I spent a couple of hours just messing around with that, which is time I normally would have spent goofing around on Arena. But Arena's gotten so unfun and so slow in terms of how long it takes to get matches. It's not enjoyable anymore. So I've kind of been pushed off to the side. Now, it's not enough to keep me out of Arena. I will get back to it. I will get back to playing, but that's once all this is sorted out. I mean, we're still looking at another 2 weeks of this. It's 2 weeks from today that we're going to be seeing a standard ban. And we honestly don't have enough confidence in Wizards that we can even say they're going to ban Oko. Their greed may cause them to actually try and ban around Oko. But Oko is so powerful that he's still going to dominate. Even if you ban Gilded Goose and Arboreal Grazer to slow him down, it's not going to be enough. The amount of cards that it would take to ban on the level to get Oko down to something reasonable is completely untenable. It would be a massive banning, and it would be ridiculous and obvious. And then a month later, Wizards would have to be like, okay, we're banning Oko. It's insane. I did a video recently, and I'm actually going to retract what I said in that video, where I talked about how Wizards of the Coast acknowledged that, oops, we made a mistake with Oko. And I'm not going to go over the whole video, but I'll go over the main thrust of it. The idea was that Wizards of the Coast had come out and said, yes, we screwed up with Oko. What we didn't realize was, like, his first food making ability is fine, the swap ability is fine, but his elk making ability is just too strong from a defensive standpoint. And that's an interesting word choice. I mean, people have come along and said, hey, like his +1 ability is very similar to Beast Within. And Beast Within is a pretty powerful card. Now, admittedly, it only hits creatures or artifacts, but either way, it's a very strong effect that nullifies your opponent's best creature or their best artifact on top of the ability to give you a bunch of elks. And at first when they said, oh, you know what, we intentionally made him strong. We pushed Oko, but we didn't realize how good his second ability would be from a defensive standpoint. And what that really is saying is, we didn't realize his ability would be good when interacting with your opponent's stuff. That's it. We didn't realize this card would be good when interacting with your opponent. It's like they only considered 50% of the people in any given game of Magic, which is mind-blowing when you think about it, and absolutely unacceptable. Back in the days of Mirrodin, they had a massive power issue. So what they did to correct it was they made an underpowered Kamigawa set and came up with a new concept of like power points, where they're like, okay, there can only be so much power in any given set. Now, old busted cards like Skull Clamp ended up busted because of last second changes, where at the very last moment, they changed the +1 to a +1 -1 without testing it and going, oh wait, this is actually really busted. But it wasn't like that with Oko. They're not devoting the resources to create a balanced environment. And considering the fact that they want to charge more and more and more for their product, it's absolutely unacceptable. We are literally at crisis level right now. This is very dangerous for platforms like Arena. Wizards has put all their eggs into one basket. If Standard isn't fun, Arena's unusable. I remember there was a point where I pointed at Arena and said, you know what, Arena is going to be the end of MTGO. I no longer feel that way. In fact, I thought that Arena was going to be a very long-lived program that would be around for as long as MTGO. I no longer think that. I think that when it comes to the choices they're making and the way they're handling it, is whoever's at the top is viewing Arena the way that you would view a mobile game, where it's like, okay, just got to make a bunch of money off it as fast as possible. This game isn't going to last anyways. Like, it's not being handled in a way where you have longevity. If they had the long-term view to it, they would promote Historic a lot more. They would give you more options for Historic. They would go, okay, play Historic whenever you want. We'll make it obvious. We'll make it easy. We'll let you get rewards from playing Historic. At the end of the day, you're using cards that you got from us. It's not like people are making their own cards at home and inserting them into Arena somehow. So everything has to come through Wizards in the first place, the vectors they've created. But they want to keep us locked in the standard box because it's where they make the most money. But then we can see when you have something like the Oko crisis, the entire thing falls apart. You can't just go, well, I'll play Historic instead, because there's no Historic to speak of. Oh, I'll play Brawl instead. Oh, it's only Wednesday. Like, Magic the Gathering is a great game, and it's going to be hard to shake people like me and get me to leave the game, right? Because I've been playing forever. I have a big card collection. But Arena is like their new golden boy, right? Arena is like the new, let's bring in the money for Magic. This will revitalize the game, bring in a lot of new players. But at the same time, Arena's flashy and new, and it's competing in a world where there are tons of new games coming out all the time. And make no mistake, they know they need you to keep playing, right? That's why they they tried to change the Mastery Pass to something where it's like, you have to log in every single day. Like, they're trying to force you to play this every day because they know if you spend a number of days away from Arena, you're more likely to get into another game and never come back. So Arena is hinging on Standard, and Standard has been so poorly mismanaged that we went from what seemed like an untenable Standard into something far worse. Field of the Dead and Golos was preferable to this. It's absolutely insane. And now people are coming along and saying, well, if Oko gets banned, then this next card is going to be the next big thing. Now, I don't see anything that stands out as a massive problem, but at the same time, we're clearly dealing with an environment where Wizards of the Coast is no longer properly balancing things. And the choices that they make, instead of giving us Historic to play, they go, oh, you know what? Here's what we'll do. We've got Momir. We'll add a bunch of cards in for Momir. Why can't you add those to Historic? Why can't we play with the cards you added for Momir? Momir's like a throwaway format that they barely use half the time, right? Like, we've got some kind of Oko Momir coming up. What a laugh. What a laugh. We're going to have an Oko Momir event. Oko, the face of everything that's wrong with Magic the Gathering. And again, this right here is another reason that it makes you don't have confidence in their stewardship of the format. Because look at it. They've got Oko as the face of Throne of Eldraine. He's the biggest, most expensive, most relevant piece from the entire set. And he's ruining the entire format. Not just the set that he's in. He's ruining all the sets. This is massively, massively impacting Standard. The fact that Star City Games went and said, okay, we're dumping Standard, we're going for Pioneer. That is huge. So at this point, it literally is an Oko crisis. We don't have any recourse. Standard has been made into a quagmire of insanity. And I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, the obvious proper answer is to ban Oko. But it seems like Wizards of the Coast doesn't know what the proper thing to do is anymore. They have people who are too high up, who are disconnected from anything to do with the game, making decisions that are purely based on their perceptions of what will bring in the most money, without realizing that the way to make the most money is to keep people in Magic for the longest time possible. I've been with Magic since 1994. How much money do you think Wizards of the Coast has made off me? I have no idea. Sometimes I don't want to think about it because I'll just be like, oh God, it's so much. Like, I've given them so much money and so much time over the years. And that's what you want out of a customer. You want customers like me. And some people will be like, all you do is complain about the game. You hate it. Why don't you leave? That's not the case, man. I bring this up because I love the game. I want it to survive. I want it to thrive. I want us to have good, pleasant memories. I want to be like, yo, remember that game where blah, 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 blah? Not, yo, remember those months where Magic was unplayable because of Field of the Dead into Oko? Like, there's phrases in Magic like combo winter and things like that. You don't want to create those. They're remembered the same way that you would remember like a famine or a plague, okay? And that's what we're living in right now. We are living in a genuine crisis for Magic the Gathering. Because Standard is the entry point for most players. It's what Arena hinges on. And it is entirely 100% broken. It is broke, my friends. And I don't know how much of an aftermath this is going to have. Like, I don't know how long the ripples from this are going to be going out in the pond. Oko was a giant boulder thrown into the pond. Water splooshed all over the side. And water are the players. Those are players. And we're not getting them all back. We're losing friends in this one. We're losing people. You can see the reports all over the place. People saying multiple of their friends have been like, I'm done. I'm donezo with Magic. And not everybody will come back. This is fairly ridiculous. They're giving Pioneer all this support. So it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you coming along and going, oh, we're going to have Historic and then bury Historic because you want to be like, no, your cards don't expire. When you really, the truth is, we wish we could make your cards expire on Arena. We already completely gutted the concept of a market or trading, anything like that, because MTGO has that and we don't get all the money. So with Arena, it's like, we want all the money. Oh, but no, your cards will still be useful. We'll have Historic. And then they go, well, we have no announcements for what we're going to put into Historic. We'll do a Historic event once every couple of months. And then you turn around and go, oh, check it out. We're bringing out Pioneer. You can play with all this stuff in Pioneer. There's these conflicting messages, and it's absolutely insane. But Standard is the biggest mess. And Standard should be the thing they're focused on the most. Instead of designing 8 different mobile games, I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a mobile game called Valor's Reach, okay? And it's not a good game, guys. It's not good. I downloaded it. I was going to do a video on it, but it's such an insignificant app. Most people don't care about it. But the point is, they made Valor's Reach, and then they rebranded it as Spellslinger, completely reworked the game, which has $135 microtransactions, by the way. It might actually be worth talking about in a video. Anyways, $135 microtransactions for a broken game. This is how Wizards of the Coast is dividing their attention. They have multiple mobile apps in development. They have Arena. They don't even test cards going, oh, I can use this on my opponent. How insane is that? They go, oh, we didn't consider the defensive capabilities. That's literally saying we didn't consider that you might use this ability on your opponent. We only thought of half the players in the game. Oh, Magic players have opponents? Maybe we should factor that into what we're doing. It's aggravating, my friends. It's aggravating. I don't enjoy talking about Oko over and over. I don't enjoy going over this stuff. But the thing is it keeps getting worse. If things were getting better, that's what we would talk about. Talk about other subjects. But honestly, this is the biggest deal right now. This is what matters most. 70%. 70%! How do you let it get that bad? How are you not able to see that's going to happen? It's absolutely clueless, irresponsible, and unacceptable. Now, calm it down a little. Let's do a little wiggly dance. We'll leave you on a happier note. So I want to give a nice shout out to my patrons and channel members. Thank you very much for supporting what I do here. I am very much fan funded and I appreciate all the money love you give me, my friends. Everybody, thanks for coming by. Don't let this ruin your day. Remember, at the end of the day, Magic's just a game. It's just a card game. People matter more. At the end of the day, together, we are the 6th color of Magic.